Well, I was building my cars when I was a kid, rebuilding engines in the 80s and 90s. And I had Mustangs and Grand Nationals and all that stuff. So building engines was great. I loved building engines, making power. But I was also a nerd, and I was programming in like second grade, right? And so when I met my future wife, I was trying to impress her dad. And he worked for Pratt & Whitney, like putting rockets into space. I don't know how you impress that guy. But he had a Buick Grand National. And he's like, I want to go faster. I'm like, cool, because he liked drag racing. He's like, but wouldn't it be cool if we could actually like tune it? Because all of our Grand National buddies, they put parts on, but they wouldn't go any faster. And so we kind of figured it was something to do with the computer in there. And I'm a computer nerd, so that's where I started with the 87 Grand National. So I reverse engineered that computer, kind of figured out how all the software and the tuning worked with that. And back then it was all in hex. So we kind of made the leap going forward. Everybody asked, how do I tune my cars? How do I go faster? And so nobody would teach me. So I'm like, all right, well, why don't I teach people? So that's kind of how we got started. And I just started with my group of buddies, and they learned, they liked it, they went faster. Shops kind of heard about it. And then back in like 06, HP Tuners, we started talking with them, and they're like, hey, we want people to use our stuff, but they don't know how to use it. So that's when we wrote our first courses to get people involved and understand how to use the software. So our job is really just to educate people on how to tune. And so we don't necessarily turn the wrenches, but we also don't want to compete with the local shops that are turning wrenches either. Yeah. So we've been through it, man. We know what it's like to be a shop owner, having people you can trust that'll tune your cars. Man, that's the way to go. So if you're a performance shop and you need to keep that within your ecosystem, because you could build the best cars with the best engines, but if you have someone tuning it who either doesn't know what they're doing or they don't really have your best interests at heart because they're not working with you, that's a bad thing for a shop. So I'd rather get them brought to speed. Either a shop owner or people they trust, employees, they send them through, and we teach them in live seminars, online. We give at least a year of support with any product we have, whether it's learn-at-home courses, like I said, virtual courses, live seminar, anything. We have a whole way you can learn. We can get you there. So I had a student 10 years ago. He came to class, and I literally ran into him at SEMA a couple weeks ago. And I hadn't seen him in 10 years, but he literally sat in the class, and he's like, look, this is it. Like for me, I'm here because I'm doing great and I want to do even better, which is fine. But he was not doing great. And he goes, this is my shot at making it. And I don't have a lot of money, and I spent my money, and I'm here. And I'm like, so you basically spent all you had. And we're not really, really expensive, but this is all you had, and you're here. He's like, yeah, we're going to work with you. And we're going to make sure you're good. I lost track of him over the years. And he literally ran into me in like a hotel when we were at SEMA. And he goes, I made it. Shop's successful. I'm doing great. And I'm like, holy cow. And he's like, this is my family. Like, there is nothing better than seeing this guy who was just having a rough go. 10 years later, wife, kids, successful shop, doing great, good name in the industry. He's working hard. I will support that guy to the end. Like, what do you need to win? You tell me. Yeah, a lot. Thousands of students over the years. Like, we have a community online. It's like a private forum just for our students. It's how we support them. That's not how it goes. You join the community because you're a student, and we're here together. So when you're working on that car, and I haven't seen you in 3 years, I'll be like, hey, cool, what's your problem with that? And, that sensor's not reading right, or you need some advice with it, because all the people that work here, we're all passionate people about it. It's what it is. If you want to really be successful, we can get you from I know nothing to I will be a successful tuner, and that's our job, to help you. If you're passionate about it, we'll get you there. It's not magic. Every way that we teach, it's a process. So there's no massive chapters, there's no dictionaries you got to read. It's literally, you get the courses. You can take your car at home, whether it's stock, bolt-ons, heads cam, force induction, doesn't matter. There's a process for that. And so once you learn the process of tuning, the black magic sort of thing, that goes away. And you realize the tuners you've been working with or been watching, they're not magical. They just have experience and they know the process. So we can teach you the process. And when you go home and you get experience and you start learning, just keeping at it, then yes. So there's an easy way to get there. But people generally just look at it and go, I'm not sure. It's just like a cloud. How do I see through it? Yeah, okay. So if you're afraid to mess with your daily, probably it's stock, which is fine, right? Stock, or like maybe you have a cold air intake or something like that. Just understand that you're not going to go crazy with it to the point that you create a problem, especially if you have that mentality. You're going to start the process and start realizing, I'm going to start by learning what the scanner's telling me about my car. There's no harm in that. That's how the process works. Once a good tuner, and we teach people, we want you to be a good tuner. So we teach you to look for trends. You do that by looking at that in the scanner. What is it telling me about my engine? Then I can take a stock daily driver and make it better without like really worrying about, I watched YouTube, I saw some videos, I added 40 degrees of spark advance and I blew up my daily. Like yeah, that could happen, dude. Like you're one keystroke away from disaster by doing that. So be really careful about what you watch, but if you take a proper course, guess what? We're gonna walk you through the process and we do everything that is step-by-step approach. You can make huge improvements in dailies. I have shops that went through school years ago and I asked them, like, what's your favorite car you're working on? They're like, Silverados. I'm like turbo Silverados? They're like, no, like stock. I'm like, why? They're like, if you look at that guy, he took a stock pickup truck and that owner goes from, my truck drives okay, to this thing is amazing. Like that level of improvement in just a tune, yeah, that's amazing. And it's their bread and butter. That's where you see a lot of gains and dailies. And the transmission tuning, huge changes. The stock transmission tunes, pickup trucks, SUVs, cars, doesn't matter. They're sloppy, they're slow. They make it that way on purpose. So let me tell you, when you tune a 4-speed, 6-speed, 8-speed, 10-speed, doesn't matter, night and day difference. It drives better, it doesn't struggle, and then all of a sudden you're at 80% throttle and it finally downshifts and then you're off. It's not like that. It's not supposed to be like that. There is no way to make one tune for everybody in America or whatever, because you're in Florida, you're in Denver, they're opposites, right? High altitude, low altitude, a lot of terrain, no terrain. You drive a different way than I drive, but it's one sloppy tune that everybody gets, right? So if you do a transmission tune alone, not even talking about the engine, like the transmission course, it's one of the best kept secrets because that customer is gonna think you picked up like 50 horsepower just because it's putting the power down properly. It's amazing, night and day difference, even on a daily. The worst calibrator they got, because Jimmy is the sloppy guy. And they don't care, it's an Odyssey.
Well, that was excellent.
Oh, thanks, man.